Hey, what's going on YouTube? So I know I haven't done any videos in a while, so I decided that I was gonna make a deck profile today. I'm just gonna be doing a new version of the zombie deck that I've been playing. It's actually completely different than the ones that I've put on YouTube, but it seems like this is the more competitive way to go for this format. I will be coming out with some actual new deck profiles soon of decks that I haven't done before, but just for right now, I'm waiting for cards to come in and stuff, so I'm gonna be doing zombies today. So here we go. So I've only got 2 Zombie Masters in this new deck format. Still 3 Goblin Zombie. Searcher for the deck, it's really good. 2 Pyramid Turtle, that's another searcher, and it can bring out some big monsters. This is the big monster that it sometimes brings out, is Endless Decay. I know a lot of people don't use this card in the type of deck that I'm playing it in, but I still like this option for the first turn Pyramid Turtle, run into their monster and bring this guy out. 4,000 attack's pretty good, so gets over some stuff. So then we've got 3 Plaguespreader Zombie, and this is kind of the new theme of the deck here. We've got 3 Mezuki, because of course it's unlimited now. Then for non-zombie type monsters, 3 Destiny Hero Malicious. If you don't know what this guy does, you remove one of him from the graveyard, and it specials another one of himself from your deck. So this guy combined with Plaguespreader is kind of the main focus of the deck. We got 1 Armagheddon Knight just to put some stuff in the graveyard like Malicious or Plaguespreader. 2 Card Troopers, pretty much the same thing as Armagheddon Knight, just to try and get stuff in the graveyard. And then 1 Dark Armed Dragon, just because there's a lot of graveyard manipulation in zombie decks, and obviously there's a lot of dark monsters. So that's all the monsters. Going on to spell cards here. So 1 Foolish Burial, just because this deck requires some graveyard setup, obviously. 2 Book of Life, it's Zombie Monster Reborn. I think it's a great card. For draw power, we've got 1 Allure of Darkness and 2 Pot of Duality. Then Book of Moon, I just really like this card. It stops a lot of plays from your opponent, so it's basically one of my tech choices. 2 Mystical Space Typhoon, and a Dark Hole, and that's it for the spell cards. Okay, trap cards. So 2 Divine Wrath. This is definitely a tech choice. A lot of people don't run this card. You can definitely put in Fiendish Chain or Effect Veiler even instead of this, but I just use this because there's a lot of times where there's dead cards in your hand that you need in the graveyard. For example, like Plaguespreader, especially Destiny Hero Malicious, that guy is pretty much useless in your hand unless you have a Zombie Master as well. So you want to chuck him in the graveyard, and this card will negate an opponent's monster effect and destroy that card. So, I mean, it's a decent tech choice, but you can definitely replace it with something else. I've got 1 called The Haunted. Usually brings back Synchro monsters. We got 1 Bottomless Trap Hole, 1 Solemn Warning, 1 Torrential Tribute, 1 Compulse, and then 2 Mirror Force. And that's it for the trap cards. So basically just a standard trap lineup other than the Divine Wraths maybe. And then here's the extra deck, and the extra deck again is pretty much the reason you play this. It just spams Synchro monsters, level 6 and 8 mostly. So 1 Revive King Hades. So this guy is the Zombie Synchro, obviously. I like to make him for first Synchro that I make, just because when he's in your graveyard, you can get him back with like Mezuki and Book of Life and stuff, and he's 2450 with a decent effect. HTS Behemoth. This guy just gets over so much stuff. You can't get rid of something, this guy will just banish it. He has to kill himself too, but he's pretty good. Flameveil Urquazis. Just he hits defense. I don't make him that often, but every once in a while you kind of just need to do some life point damage, and this guy shows up. So on to 8s now. This is the main core of the deck. So it's Stardust Dragon, obviously a staple for 8s. Void Ogre Dragon. This is probably the guy that you want to go into most of the time. Just he's 3,000 attack and defense, and just stops spell or traps when you don't have any cards in your hand. So he's just kind of like the Shien of the deck. Crimson Blader. This shuts down a lot of decks, especially stuff like dragons. So he's definitely a good choise. Infinity Doom Dragon. If you have no cards in your hand, you can destroy monsters that your opponent controls and they take life points. It's a pretty good card, 3,000 attack. Dark End Dragon, he gets over stuff that like stops destroy effects, so he's pretty good too. I don't make him that often, but he is pretty good. And Scrap Dragon, this is just the guy that you need when you're gonna pop cards on the field, especially if you have unwanted stuff, or you want to like pop your Card Trooper or your Goblin Zombie and get some cards off of it. It's pretty good. Now I do have some exceeds because you still have, of course, a lot of rank or level 4s in the deck. So we got 1 Maestro, it's just kind of a staple. 2 Lalwell Chain. This is the exceed that you go into all the time. It fixes the graveyard for you. You just kind of need it. I know it's expensive, but if you want to play this deck, you need at least 1, and I recommend 2. 1 Gem Knight Pearl. He just kind of runs over Ophion and gets over some other stuff that's 25 or 2550, so he's just good to have. Black Ship of Corn. And Master Key Beetle, just because there's so many darks in the deck, and this guy's got a pretty good effect. So anyway, that's the end of the extra deck, and that's the end of the deck profile. So this is definitely a deck that's a work in progress, so if you guys have any suggestions, I know a lot of people use lightsworns in this build, and I was kind of just thinking about doing that, so if you guys have any suggestions, definitely leave a comment or send me a message on YouTube. I'm always open to suggestions, so thank you guys for watching, and have a nice day.